So it's not maintained anymore, but Border Patrol continues to drive it.
And not operational because they just left it here. Welcome to the United States of America. They've left the door open for you.
And as glorious as this fence is, that kind of water would just knock it down. This is what we call carpet booties. That's right. So it's not just a Cochise County problem. It's not just a border problem. This is a United States problem.
Totally agree.
The logic behind that might be considered lacking just a hair.
Yes, sir.
Also, how long does this, and I know we were talking about earlier, the roads, I mean, this seems like it's a pretty I wouldn't say paved, but well
maintained.
well maintained road all the way along this. So who maintains this now?
So it's not maintained anymore, but Border Patrol continues to drive it, and there is a plan that Border Patrol is trying to work with the government to get it at least completed so that they can use it to patrol. But there's sections where they were putting in culverts and different pieces to maintain the road and put concrete and cement in a lot of the water crossings, and that was never completed. So it's just, parts of it are super dangerous, other parts are well developed. It's a hit or miss depending on what part you're on.
Awesome.
This was, they just pulled these guys right off the job, and you can see wired, ready to go, fiber optics in the ground, but totally dysfunctional and not operational because they just left it here.
So that camouflage that you just found, that piece of clothing, let me show you something. So this is what we call carpet booties.
Carpet booties.
So this is what they give and issue out, standard issue to everybody crossing the border in our area. They tie these on their shoes. They don't leave any footprints whatsoever. I found these down the road about 1.5 miles not too long ago. They're all over the desert. So I just keep one to show people, or else I could have a truck full of them.
So that's standard issue from the cartels. When you're coming over, they'll say, here's your equipment. And this,
Absolutely. That's part of your head to toe camouflage right there.
Right. No
Yep.
tracks.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. And pretty well made. You know, they're not making these in convenience stores, that's for sure.
Nice.
That's nice. I mean, that's a good sew job.
You have somebody that's in charge of a manufacturer of a carpet booty.
Big toe.
That's right.
So right behind me in the one of the garages, there's some black tape on a door that you can see, and that used to say property of the federal government because it was seized after we found the exit of the longest tunnel we've ever found in Cochise County. And you can see from here how far that is down to the border. We need a road. If you had 20 acres of celery right here,
Right.
and somebody came over the fence and ran through there, a certain portion of that acreage, so an acre or however long he ran across on either side, is now considered contaminated, and he can't sell any of that celery.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
The question is how many people.
So that's a good point to bring up to Sheriff Wilmot, because he's the one that told me that when we were down
Okay.
there
Ask
in
him
Yuma.
about
So ask him about the contaminated fields and things like that, when they come running through.
That's a great point.
Yeah, because like 80 or 90%, he'll tell you exactly, of all the winter greens in the country come out of Yuma.
Filled with concrete, all of these. So not only the height of them, but the fact that they've got that different panel on the top to make it so that they can't shimmy up it like a palm tree or whatever. All of these are filled with concrete. There's some ingenious stuff that they've done here in some places,
Yes.
but then it's just completely unfinished in others.
Right.
But I do think jail people would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Filled with concrete, good solid construction. Nice. So, Aaron, I guess somebody, welcome to the United States of America. They've left the door open for you.
Yeah, but the lights aren't on.
No, they're not.
So, Kenny, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but I see miles and miles of tall fence, and somebody left the door open. So, could you explain to me why the door's sitting wide open?
Sure. So Aaron, we're in our monsoon season right now, so it's our rainy season, and we can get up to 2 inches of rain in one storm in an hour. And as glorious as this fence is, that kind of water would just knock it down with all this debris that would flow through. So from about June till October, they open these, what we call the floodgates, so that water can run through and not knock the fence down. But obviously when you open the door, you let people in.
That door's open.
There you go. Mexico.
And as you said, I mean, there's nothing that's gonna. I mean, there's nobody here. There's nothing we can see the direction that would slow anybody down from just ducking through there, and they're on their way.
Nope. This is just a clear shot.
So 30-foot wall, 1 foot hop.
And you're through.
Yep.
All right then. The door open. So again, we've been driving down this wall for what? 2 hours?
2.5. Yeah.
2.5 hours. Yeah. And we just come past all these stacks of fence panels where it looks like somebody just up and left them.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what. And then we've got to. We're now at the end, I'm assuming.
Yep. This is it. So when the new administration took over, they said stop building, and that's exactly what they did. They just stopped everything and drove away. So all that material you see laying down there was originally supposed to be part of the new fence. So as we get here, you can see that they got about halfway up this mountain here, and they were done. They had to walk away. That's the end of the line. So about another 8 miles west, it'll start up again on the other side of this mountain range. But in between there's absolutely nothing. There's not a line in the dirt. There's not a red line. There's not a chain link fence, a barbed wire fence. There's nothing.
So all this money and time invested on these last 2.5 hours of fence that we've got. I mean, granted, you have to work for it because you got to climb the mountain, but still, there's nothing.
Right. I mean, if you're that dedicated to want to bring narcotics and dangerous, things into the United States, then how dedicated are you to just go for a climb and walk down the ridge line down the mountains and get picked up and off into all of the states in the United States? So it can go anywhere from here. But yeah, all you gotta do is go for a hike.
So you talked about 3 things: physical, right?
Right.
The technology, and the staff.
Right.
To your point on, okay, there's no wall here. What evidence would you say exists to the fact that a wall matters? Because I assume your folks have been up on the top of this ridge and seen things.
Obviously, yeah, they're constantly up there. So
what's there? What does the public not know of? Okay, there's no fence line. Does it matter?
So there's no fence line here, but just on the south side, on a high point, there's a scout point, and on that scout point, people are, the scouts are directing the coyotes, the escorts that are escorting these people across, as to where to go, when our people are here, when Border Patrol is here, so they can just go for a walk. And oftentimes we go up there and look, and there's camps of people being staged, getting ready to come across the line. So, it's that barrier, like we talked about earlier. When you have a fence around your yard, it's not, don't come into my house. It's just use the gate and come to the front door. That's all we're saying. And that's this. But there's always those 3 legs that we talked about. So we need that physical barrier first to say, this is a barrier. Don't come past here unless you do it the right way. Right. Then we need technology to say, hey, somebody has violated our rule by doing this. And then we need those boots on the ground to come out here and respond when we find out that this has happened.
But the fact that they have that camp up there, the scouting, the camps, all of that, the staging areas, that's evidence to show, even if there are holes in the wall and ways that they can get around or climb over it or under it or whatever, the fact that they're doing that there says
absolutely
the wall does matter.
Yeah. There has to be that barrier, that red line, that saying, don't come past here unless you do it the right way.
And I was thinking, you look at all this stuff stacked up, it's almost like we as a nation have said, you know what, it's not that big of a deal, we're just going to take a break on it. But like you said, if there's a scout station up there, they're very likely they know we're standing here.
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you they know we're standing here.
So they haven't stopped.
No.
And they're not going to stop.
No.
So every moment we stop and don't do anything about it, that's just that much more, that's that much more stuff, material, narcotics, people, whatever, that are just sashaying across the border.
Correct.
However they want to.
Right. And when they come across the border, they don't stay here. They go to Alabama, and they go to Wisconsin, and they go to Michigan, and they go to Oregon, and they go all over. So it's not just a Cochise County problem. It's not just a border problem. This is a United States problem.
totally agree.